And now let's head to Hillary Vaughn in Dunmore, Pennsylvania. She has been listening to Joe Biden's Buy Back Better economic plan, which it appears he began with fighting fire with fire and took a rather aggressive stance toward President Trump. Hillary.
Liz, you know what's interesting is we heard former Vice President Joe Biden unveil his pitch to reboot the U.S. economy, and it sounds a lot like the rhetoric that we heard from President Trump on the campaign trail in 2016. Biden's pitch today is build American, buy American, and hire American. But Biden saying today the difference between him and Trump is Trump's promises really have just resulted in just talk. He's the one that will actually deliver.
It's an infrastructure plan to deliver on jobs and opportunities. We're rated as having the 23rd, ranked 23rd in the world in terms of our transportation infrastructure. What happened to all of that?
Biden's plan would invest $400 billion his first term to federal purchases of U.S. products, including things like clean vehicles, American steel, medical supplies, and artificial intelligence. The plan also includes a Made in America tax credit for small and mid-sized manufacturers. Biden also wants to put $300 billion of investment into research and development for things like AI, 5G, and biotechnology. Biden says he also wants to punish companies that close up shop here and then ship jobs overseas. But Biden's push towards American-made products is not the only similar part of this plan, Liz, that echoes things that we've heard from Trump. Biden today says he wants to rework trade policy and target China as part of the recovery post-COVID-19 plan by cracking down on them with aggressive trade action for currency manipulation. He wants to pressure allies to essentially gang up on China and try to convince them to abide by trade rules. He also threatens new sanctions against Chinese firms that steal U.S. technology, Liz. All things that we've heard from President Trump, but Biden's pitch today is he will actually do it. Liz?
Hillary, I find it really interesting because we at the top of the show had our traders, Scott Redler and Scott Bauer, pointing out that there aren't too many similarities. Regulation, yes, Donald Trump by far much more aggressive in cutting regulation, which is very pro-business. We're not really hearing too much of that from Joe Biden, but Joe Biden is arguing that the Trump administration was pursuing economic policies that really favored the wealthy and the wealthy businesses. Anything else that he said about that as far as Donald Trump is concerned?
Yeah, he did. He said that President Trump has made his economic policy all about the stock market, how the NASDAQ has been doing during this downturn, during this pandemic, how the Dow has been doing. He says he's going to focus and be a president that focuses on American working families. But Liz, what is interesting about all of this is there was a concern among Wall Street that Biden would be pushed far progressive to the very far left. But we've learned now that that's not the case. His pitch today is a very moderate take. But what's also interesting is they did roll out their policy proposals for the Dem Party platform, and two things that are not on it, Medicare for all and the Green New Deal. Those are two things that investors were very concerned that would be part of Biden's platform, but it's clear that those are not going to be part of it. Liz?
That is crucial and very interesting. Hillary, thank you very much. Hillary Vaughn in Pennsylvania.